Hello, one and all. How is everybody tonight? I hope you are all doing well. Metal's still on his show, the Vomitorium. So we're just going to share this out, and then we will get started on coloring our piece from last night that we were drawing up. As you can see, I finished drawing it, which is good. Oh, sorry for my hiccups. Just, like I said, sharing this out to a few places. And we will start. Okay, so we're all shared out. Okay, so first up, of course, is let's change canvas size because we don't need it that big. My scanner scans bigger than what it is. So there we go, there is that. And then of course the next step as always is convert brightness to opacity. Okay, so there we go. Oh, I didn't sign that one for last night, but that's alright. I don't know why I'm grabbing the keyboard. I don't need it. I need my stylus is what I need. You know what? I should, at this point, I take Toxico's color pattern here. And we're gonna, you know what? Probably don't even need to. Okay, that does not seem to work. So, okay, so we're gonna have to create a second layer here. Where we get his colors from. So there we go, we got the gray. Hello, Ara. How are you? Okay, so we got the gray. We'll just put it aside. We won't actually do anything with it. Well, for the color pattern thing, yeah. We'll just start coloring darkness here. Ah, that's good. Very good. I am doing well. Also, drew this up last night, my character Darkness. Hey Eagle, how are you? Long time no see. What's it been? 6 minutes? Oh, then again, I never saw you. I just saw your chat over on the Vomitorium. Are they done or And of course, earlier today I was working on Canadian Shield pages 4 and 5. Of course, after I got all the colors in the basic spots, I'll go over this and refine everything. I don't know. Oh, you don't know whether they're done or not. Well, weren't you listening to the program, Eagle? Or did you just see I was on and come over before they were done? Meadow's getting his food real quick, then he'll be on. No problem. Buck. So have you logged into City of Heroes yet? Actually, it's just also hoping that we're on the same, we're doing this through the same thing. I'm doing it through a thing called Tequila. Not yet, things have been a bit weird because I quit my job. Okay, why'd you quit your job? If you want to share, you don't have to, obviously. Okay, so scrub. Just the blue. Hey, Timothy. Not much. Doing a couple things. Hey, creating color pattern and coloring my character darkness. Darkness, my old friend. Oh, I was treated pretty terribly for 3 years and hit the breaking point when I was told not to do my job and do something else instead, and then got yelled at for not doing my job. What did I say? Oh, yeah. Crazy town, it sounds like. More like darkness is not your friend, or like darkness. Well, isn't there something like a song that goes, "Hello, darkness, my old friend"? Or am I confusing the words of some song? Yeah, then really getting on my nerves. It's actually been electrocuted. I've actually been electrocuted multiple times due to them ignoring warnings that the car battery we use for equipment are bad. Ooh. Simon and Garfunkel. They did the song. Yeah, I've had a couple companies that I work for. The one, they didn't really trust your, not so much um, the company, the people that you work for. You couldn't trust. You do one small thing wrong, and you correct it when they say, and it's like, who did you work for? It was called MSM something. Uh, it was basically a cleaning company. They had a contract at a big mall. This was back probably like 20 years ago. I've worked on construction sites. Worked in a couple factories. Worked on a mini golf course. Worked in a mushroom place. Packing mushrooms. And I know I've done a few other things. Can't think of offhand. Yeah, me, a mushroom packer. And then I've done a whole bunch of volunteer stuff too. Yeah, those eyes are definitely darker. All you mushroom packers are the same, packing mushrooms. Yeah. Yep. Pack, pack, pack. Oops. Hello, Metal.
Howdy, howdy.
How was the vomitorium?
It was. I had a good time.
It was. What's with the color scheme? I don't know. It's something I decided on years ago. I don't know what was going through my head back then. As pukey as ever.
No, I see. I was wondering what he was watching. I was going through. Travis was already in the chat.
You know, probably at the time when I chose the dark gray, at least, I was probably wanting something that you could see some definition. That's why I probably didn't go complete in black. You know, especially when you're like 16, 17, 20 maybe. But learn what?
What do I think of this color scheme? I don't think, if you were considering it black, blue, and purple is necessarily a bad color scheme. We might need to adjust the tones on this. Probably quite a bit.
Yeah, make them a little darker.
It would probably mute some of the colors a bit. Here we go. You know what? I'll as soon as the vomitorium is done processing, I'll send you some stuff. I had a problem where I did not end the recording when I should have.
So you gotta chop a bit off.
The end. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's about where it ends. Okay. Yeah, I have to clip it off. Yeah. There we go.
What about a more metallic looking shoulder pad? Yeah, this whole thing, well, you gotta remember this whole thing is, yeah, it could look more metallic, but he's also supposed to be a stealthy character.
Yeah, you don't want him shiny.
Yeah. The thing is, he can't, he can change his appearance. I'm not sure how he does it exactly. It's somehow, I guess he influences some. Not supposed to have psychic abilities, but somehow he can project an illusion over himself that he's anybody else.
What is he like, Mysterio?
Not quite. And he can also blend into shadows and all that. Hence, darkness. But say somebody is running through a crowd and he's running through a crowd like this, and he can get somebody's eyes off him for a second. He can switch to looking like anybody in the crowd, or make it appear as though he looks like anybody in the crowd, no matter how big or tall it's. I say illusion. I'm not sure whether that's quite the right word, but hopefully you're getting the idea. I would say, yeah, I know he looks a bit flashy here for stealthy, I think is what. But he doesn't really need it as long as, he's not making noise, well, especially if he's in, a crowd, in the darkness. Just doesn't want to have anything, we would say even the metallic, which in some ways I like the idea, but if that metal hits anything, there's a definite cling. Where if some sort of cloth shoulder pad hit, you're not going to hear a noise. If he runs through a crowd, he can just make it appear as if he's just another person in the crowd. Yeah. And he can, it doesn't matter whether they're around, he can do somebody that he looked like, 10 years ago or whatever. At first, he was used for espionage and stuff like that for his government, which I think was supposed
to be sounds like a form of hypnosis.
Yeah. It's somewhere between, like I said, it's somewhere between hypnosis and, a little hologram over top of himself, if you will.
Yeah.
So he's not traditionally stealthy. Yeah. He doesn't need to be, if there's a shadow, he can blend into it. And as long as he's not making noise, he isn't going to get noticed. He started making a whole bunch of noise, and sure they'd go check it out. And then I think they could be able to bump into him, but as long as he can move around in that shadow, they'd never notice him. And it doesn't have to be real thick black shadow, it can just be the grayish kind. He uses trick. Yeah, but this is natural. It's not any sort of, gizmos or whatever that does it for him. It's all in and of himself. That's why I'm not quite sure how it works on a technical, maybe I shouldn't say technical, but I think you know what I mean.
On like a mechanical level?
Yeah, or whatever. Somehow it's all biological. Where Mysterio, as you pointed out earlier, he has all these devices that allow him to do stuff where he doesn't need any sort of device. It's just natural.
About the effect, though, not necessarily where it comes from.
Yeah. What was that? Sorry, something about the effect.
So, when I was relating him to Mysterio, I was talking more about the effect that happens, the end result, less where the thing comes from.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Start at the top. Down for.
Oh man, I'm really enjoying these hamburgers. They've been sitting there for a while. Bunch of crazy people eating their burgers. without any vegetation. I put some baby spinach on mine. Get me them vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
Need my minerals.
Let's see. You know what? Sure, pretty sure I have a bio on my website, so let's see. Easy to get to. His name is actually Ebenezer, if I remember right. Unless I'm confusing him with another
Ebenezer, what is he, an old man? That's like an old man's name.
Ebenezer Prism. Freelance spy. Ebenezer was born into the world to parents who loved their country of Russia. Now, at this time, Russia was still under Soviet rule, and they instilled this love of country into their son. So, when he turned 18, he went to sign up for the military as to serve his country, but was rejected due to not fitting the bill for the military. He, however, kept pestering the military and the government to be of use for his country. Finally, he is given a chance to serve his country by undergoing, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not in and of itself. Or it ends up being in and of itself. I guess sort of a super soldier thing here. Finally giving a chance to serve his country by undergoing experiments in a super secretive government program. These experiments change his body so that he can become invisible in shadows and other dark areas, and also give him the ability to create an illusion of others' appearance. The government also put him through combat training and espionage training as well. So he was given the code name Darkness. For some time, he operated as a covert operative for the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union fell, he was left out in the cold. This embittered him towards his former people, and he began freelancing as a spy for whoever paid his fee. In doing this, he kept the code name that was given. What do we got here? So is this how the fantasy? So how is the Fantasy Star game? Good. My mom was very impressed with the Canadian Shield comic. She thinks she assumed. I think she assumed all the comic book creators were heathens. Okay, I'm playing the first one. Timothy says. How is the Fantasy Star game? Original Fantasy Star? Heathens? Okay, why did she think all the comic book creators were heathens? Marsupial. Oh, she thought all ones were heathens beforehand. Okay, I think that's what you mean. They told Darkness to wear a blindfold. They told him it was custard in his mouth. Poor Darkness. Hey, hello, Connor. I am no one's property. Also, hiya. Well, that's good that you know one's property.
Okay, Rick, I'm almost done with this, but I'm gonna have something for you in a second.
But Connor, if you're no one's property, doesn't that make you the property of no one? So that's your property of someone? And I actually have to disagree even with no one because I tell you the property of God. What is what you're saying? That you're the property of God? Or that because you're the property of no one, you're the property of someone? Or Trinity. I am the property of a girl named Peach. Agree, but God is number one. True. Marsupial. I don't know because they're all about giant apes, jawbreakers, jumping people up on stairs. That's deep.
Okay, Rick, try that color scheme. I sent it to you over Twitter.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to actually change what you intended for your color scheme. I don't know if this is exactly how I would make a character design, but within what you wanted, I think these tones are better.
Okay, now the question is, will they come out the same way?
Well, if you copy and paste the image, it should
Yeah.
at least be identical to how it looks on your monitor.
Yeah.
Our monitors could be different, though, as the difference in digital art tends to be.
Okay, so there. You gave him brownish hair, I take it there.
No, it's just an off black that's darker than the off black from your
Okay.
your costume. You could darken the tint of that a little bit more if you want. That one, I get, it wouldn't be bad to go all black. It's just if you're going to go all black for hair, you have to thicken the line art some to give it more definition, and then you have to give some type of highlight to the hair.
Yeah. Well,
Which, if you do that, a lighter blue would probably be
yeah.
appropriate.
As you probably know, I get all my colors in basic where they are, and then I do my highlights and all that. Okay, so.
Yeah, well, that's why I only gave you flats. I didn't give you any tones or anything to add on top of it.
Okay, let's see whether we can. I want to keep mine, but do yours at the same time. So, let's see. Control C, Control V, CV.
Yeah, but this basically keeps your color scheme, but these tones are a bit more muted. They're not as like stabbing in your face. They're based off of what's his name? Jose Garcia Lopez. You know, the old comic book artist. The colors that he would use for print.
Create selection. Actually, I don't even need to do. That would create a selection there. Okay, so let's take out all the regular numbered layers. This is the copied ones. So copied. Create selection.
And I also made sure, like, you'll notice the colors are closer in temperature to each other too, so they flow better. The purple's closer into the blue range. The off black is kind of in the purple range, and you kind of just get this nice color temperature theme to it.
Create selection. Why is it not? Whatever. Okay, let's copy. And then let's bring this up. Okay, so well, not sure whether you meant for the gray and the black. They came out more of brownish.
Well, they're slightly off purple because you don't want your off black colors to be completely desaturated.
No.
Yeah. I mean, you can mess with the values all you want.
Yeah.
I just went with that one because it would fit the tone of the rest of the color scheme.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean to look at your thing. There might have been a slight translation. You talk about wondering them be the same because yours looks like it's off red on there. It's supposed to be down in the purple a bit more.
Oh, maybe did I get the select?
Well, I think you selected the right one. It might have been what's it called? Twitter's compression. Since I didn't send you the raw file.
Okay, there when I actually select the black area, or what was supposed to be the dark gray.
But that is it's definitely a habit you want to pick up. Is you want your tones, your dark colors, to have a little bit of color in it. You don't want to necessarily go straight into the gray. Especially when you go to print, because if there's too much desaturation, your colors end up looking muddy.
Hmm. changing a bit. I don't think the block needs to be changed from here. I will raise. Well, I was raised Lutheran, so I generally believe in Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Yeah, same here. That just is referred to as the Trinity, Timothy, or the Godhead, depending on.
I think I even looked into it. While it's a translation of another word, I'm pretty sure Godhead is actually an older term than Trinity.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. In the Bible, you don't find you'll never find the word Trinity. You'll find the word Godhead, but basically I would say is supposed to be the main thing, same thing, or they are supposed to mean the same thing. In my ever so humble opinion. Oh, Timothy says, yeah, I know. Okay.
But yeah, I was basically just trying to give you some more traditionally comic book colors to work with too.
No.
I actually use the exact same off black gray color for the base color of the metal ski.
Yes. Lutheran sounds interesting. It says, Connor. Yes,
When I was real young,
if I'm right, Connor was raised Dutch Orthodox. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. Sorry.
yeah, when I was real young, I didn't know who Martin Luther was. So when I heard Lutheran, I'm like, what, did Lex Luthor make a church?
Oh, that's definitely funny. I'm gonna go around getting a lot of this edge stuff, which I hate.
Yeah. I actually had an uncle who was an idiot and kept hearing the name wrong, no matter how many times that people pronounced it right, and thought that Lutherans were devil worshippers
Okay, what?
because he kept hearing like Luciferans in his head, and like, no, that's not even close. How are you hearing it that way?
Well considered, Lutheranism as well. Watered down Catholicism. Yeah, they are very close. That's for sure.
I would assume so, since like genuinely the difference between them is Luther's 95 thesis. So it's still pretty close to the church that he was going to before that.
Yeah. Basically, he just didn't agree with, I believe, praying to the saints and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a few things, yeah.
Yeah, and a few other things.
The biggest one was basically, the thing that we use for Protestantism today is that he didn't think that there should be gatekeeping on the knowledge of the book.
Yeah.
That was like the number one complaint. And then there was a bunch of things like indulgences and stuff like that. But it's not like it being in Latin and the clergy being the only people who know it and having to speak to God through the clergy. And
yeah, that's more Old Testament sounding than New Testament sounding. And then even at that, the from what I know, the little bit for Testament, you know, even in Jesus' time, somebody could come up and read the text in the synagogue. That was the only place you most likely find it, or somebody that was very rich, that could afford to get a copy made.
well, if you go back to Judaism, it's not in, as far as I know, it's not in rabbinical teaching that you have to go through a rabbi to consult God.
No,
It was something that was the Pharisees started doing. So you tend to see this repeating historically as any like grouping gets more power. Like, no, you got to go through us.
yeah, it wasn't so much rabbinical teaching as it was at the time. God was only speaking through prophets and such. So
Yeah.
most people had to go to a prophet. Most people didn't get a individual word from God. They didn't approach God by themselves. They had the priests, do the sacrifices for them and stuff like that, and go into, like the Holy of Holies and such things like that. But where, the New Testament is meant to, you can approach God by yourself. You don't have to, all you need is Christ. With the saying, there is one mediator between God and man, and that is Christ Jesus. That is taught in Scripture. where in the Catholics, I think they tried to make it so the priest was supposed to be a mediator.
Well, yeah, that's like the whole idea between for like confessions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though confessions also have an okay idea behind them outside of mediation, and that's the idea of being held accountable for your sins. Like it's
Yeah.
accountability, which you see this often in Protestant churches too. Just instead of like this anonymous type thing where you're not sure which of the priests or whatever is behind the curtain.
A lot of
You talk directly to your preacher, and he'll give you some advice and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you can talk directly to your preacher, or it's even talk to a fellow Christian. It says confess your sins one to another. I think that's where they're getting it from, but they're taking it, in my opinion, a step away, or however. I'm not sure. I think you know what I mean. I'm just not sure exactly how to word it. They're taking it, one to another. That doesn't mean you have to do it to a priest or a pastor. It just means your fellow believer, and that's again to seek advice.
The biggest power though was for the longest time they just kept all the texts in Latin.
Yeah,
and most people after what was it? I think around 600 AD. Most common people couldn't read Latin anymore.
Yeah. And which is weird, they translated into Latin from the Greek or the Hebrew and all that.
Yeah, because it was never originally in Latin.
And then they try and say, "Oh yeah, Latin's the best to read this in." Actually, I think it would be Greek or Hebrew or Aramaic, whichever it was originally written in.
Yeah, for the longest time, like most of the translations into other languages were coming out of the Catholic Latin texts instead of the original that the Latin was a translation from.
Yeah.
Though in some cases, to be fair, some of the older versions had been lost for a long time. Like, they were around when they initially translated them, but we're talking like centuries later. It wasn't until closer to modern day that we even found certain copies of older ones to compare against. To be like, oh yeah, no, this was legit.
Like the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that.
Yeah.
Also, well, I'm not sure. Timothy says Greek and Hebrew. Yeah, that's what the originals were written in. Well, and Aramaic. The New Testament.
Aramaic is actually just a form of more modern Hebrew.
Okay.
That was spoken in the northern Galilean area.
Okay, I was thinking it would have been, part of the Arabs or whatever they would have spoken that day.
Yeah. No, Aramaic is a Semitic language. It gets its name too. There's Joseph of Arimathea, who is a Judaic scholar around that time.
Yeah.
Who is also one of the outside biblical sources for the existence of Christ because he talks about his interactions.
Yeah. You didn't say Josephus. You said
Josephus. I had food in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm still eating this burger. I've got like 2 or 3 bites left of it.
Oh, no problem.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I've always heard, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew and the New Testament Greek and Aramaic, so it makes it sound like that Hebrew, is, I guess, different than regular Hebrew, or the Hebrew of the Old Testament. And there was proof from Roman historians' existence, yeah. I could be wrong. I think there's more proof that Jesus was alive than Anybody, at least textually? Anybody in this chat room at the moment?
Yeah. Well, there's more proof that Josephus was alive than Yeshua. But Josephus is really good backing proof. But that's because, he was one of the top scholars in the area at the time, so everybody was referencing his work.
Yeah. Well, there's like...
Highly, highly cited individual.
At least for, I think the New Testament's got like 27,000 manuscripts or something like that. Or pieces or whatever, and
Yeah.
I know they're probably not all full.
But also when it comes to the past, because it's really hard to prove anything in the past, right? It comes down to the confidence and how often it's referenced by other societies. Like, there is slightly more proof of Yeshua than there is for Socrates, who is one of the most influential philosophers of all time.
Yeah.
I would actually say that Yeshua is probably a more influential philosopher, if you looked at the spread of Christianity. But a lot of our modern common law and stuff can be traced back to. So both of them kind of have very, very in parity relevance to modern society.
Yeah. Timothy says it comes down to faith. Merciful said, "Can't prove I exist. I dare you."
This is true. He could just be like a really, really elaborate AI. Like, he could be the first SI, synthetic intelligence, and we just don't even know about it.
Yeah.
Every time like he disconnects and his like camera goes out and stuff, it's actually just him doing like a little quick reset because he ran into a bug.
Possible, highly unlikely, because I doubt we've created AIs or SIs or SIs.
The SI, synthetic intelligence. That's the word I prefer for what people are actually going for, because an artificial intelligence, by definition, means that it's not actually intelligent, right? It is something that's emulating intelligence, and we have plenty of AI.
No.
What we're looking for is what people call GAI, or general artificial intelligence. I don't like that word, because it still has the artificial, and it's insinuating it's emulated. We're actually looking for SI, which is synthetic or synthesized intelligence. Real intelligence made by man.
Yeah. Something that can think for itself with a little bit of programming. Or maybe a lot of programming. Depending on how you want to say it.
Well, one of the big problems that people are running into is the body problem. And the body problem is that intelligence seems to come out of necessity, where you have a body with needs, security, food, and stuff like that, and you need all of these protocols to be able to run those needs. Computers have all their needs ran for them. They don't have a body. They can't interact with the world. There's a lot of like just general problems with it. I think synthetic intelligence could actually probably come from car AI development eventually, because cars have needs and are a body. And we're like looking at this in the wrong way. You could actually get genuinely smart cars that start to learn when they need to fill themselves up and start getting activities based on the necessities of maintenance and stuff like that, and could even have reasons or motivations for existence, including wanting some type of payment or credit to be able to afford, say, certain maintenance and fill-ups and stuff like that, which would give them a reason to have a job in society in which they would be the drivers. I think cars getting a form of synthetic intelligence is not a missed area, because I think some people are actually looking at it. They just don't want to say that's what they're working on, since you see a lot of AI development around vehicles. But probably the most likely area where we'll see it.
Yeah. Timothy would think what I said what I was thinking. Transformers. And Timothy also said, well, I don't like the word moist. Why don't you like the word moist? Timothy, what do you have against the word moist?
Maybe he just doesn't like it when people like ASMR it into his ear and they go like, moist.
Could be. Guess we may or may not find out in a few seconds. Because it sounds gross. Did those Transformers get moist? Okay, Timothy, so long as you got a real good reason there, you know, because it sounds gross. How would you say moist? Let's find out the word for moist in some other language. See whether it sounds gross or not to him.
Probably not, because I think part of the grossness of moist is the familiarity with it.
Yeah, possibly. Bullet moist was in response to Metals hating a certain word, and that was where the joke came from.
Oh, no, yeah, I hate the word general artificial intelligence. Not because I have any hate towards that phrase. It doesn't accurately describe what they're looking for.
Or trying to do.
Yeah, it's a misnomer. Let's see, the Chinese word for moist is shi.
She?
Shi.
That's funny, then. With Billy Tucci's she?
Yeah. Well, it's a lower intonation, so it's not like his is she. Well, this is she, so it's kind of like in Chinese, your intonation matters a lot. So you're actually dropping down. You're not going up.
Okay. I have no idea what you said. I know what you said, but I have no idea what it means.
Okay, so a lot of people refer to Chinese as sing-songy, because if you listen to it, it sounds like their pitch is going up and down as they say it, and that's the intonation. So you can have a syllable on paper, but can mean 5 different things depending on the intonation you put on it.
Yeah.
Chinese poem that all consists of ma, but it's in different intonations, and it actually is a grammatically correct poem.
Let's see. Timothy says that bullet and the Transformers joke was aimed at the remarkable cars being able to have intelligence because they have a body And that is where that joke comes from. Anything else you need explained? Timothy goes, she? And Bart Harper goes, because she is moist. It's amazing the topics we get into on this channel. We like going down rabbit holes here. Sorry, my headphones are full of static. Ma? I never said ma. Ma.
I did.
Oh. Oh yeah, for the word. Whatever word it's supposed to be in Chinese. Or Mandarin.
The traditional Hebrew word for moist is lak.
Lock.
Yeah, with that hard sound. But it's also just genuinely damp or wet as well, which moist kind of means. Some languages just don't have a word for a specific word, and just have one for a general meaning.
Yeah. And you gotta derive the meaning from, everything around it. Probably a wire. What have I done? I don't know. What have you done? You need to tell us, or we might not know.
I bet one of Timothy's nightmares is that episode of How I Met Your Mother, where so earlier the characters, there's a character named Lily, and there's also what is Neil Patrick Harris's character, Barney, right? And she had her whole group of friends go and see her one woman show. So Barney forced her to go see his in payback, and she was like, "Yeah, I'd go see your show. You saw mine." And when she showed up to the show, it was literally just him on stage on a stool saying the word moist for like 2 hours straight. And she can't stand that word.
And she just didn't get up and walk out? Although I've seen that.
No, she had to. She was principled. He watched all of her show, despite the fact that he hates one-man shows. So, she was kind of like compelled to sit through his whole program.
Was it just her, or did he actually?
Everybody else was there too, but it didn't bother them as much.
Yeah. I've seen the show. I've seen every episode, actually.
You just don't remember that one so much?
Yeah. Because I got it, and I watched it all the way through once, and then, deleted it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a genuinely good show. There's a lot of comedies from the last decade or so that people rave about that are eh. But then there's this one, and it does have a following. It's not like it's not a popular show, but it's kind of under talked about. But this show's so much better than the ones you guys always talk about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How I Met Your Mother is way better than The Office.
What's better? How I Met Your Mother?
How I Met Your Mother is way better than The Office.
Oh, yeah. Well, not that I've seen much of The Office, but the little bit I've seen, I would say yeah. Marsupial says Timothy has ruined my dreams and my childhood. Says Timothy.
Oh, Letterkenny's pretty good. Timothy says he's been watching that.
He says The Office is okay, not great.
Yeah, like you can find a decent episode or two. I think the hype around The Office is definitely overblown. And for some people, it's basically their personality. Like, I don't know if you've ever been on a dating app, but you'll see girls who part of their description is that I like The Office, and like, yo, that's not a personality trait.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Not a personality trait. No matter how you want to take that. Going to an actual office or some shows I liked. Some shows I liked, but they were never given another season beyond the first, like Outsourced. I don't think I've heard of that.
I don't think I've seen Outsourced. Oh, Bravely Default 2 demo is live. I wonder if it's as good as the original demo that gave you non-spoiler things to do and benefits in the main game when you finished it. So it's kind of like just a mini game itself, like a one-shot. I'm gonna go download it now.
Outsourced was about a call center in India and this guy, Todd Dempsey from the States, who has to run it or lose his job. Okay, sounds interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of good shows only get a season or two because of whatever. Sometimes they're not promoted as much as they need to be to get people watching them because the powers that be think they shouldn't because they don't really like them and they want to get rid of them as fast as possible.
Oh yes, and Eagle wants to point out something I noticed on my phone. Dillard is streaming.
Oh, that's why he's not in the chat.
I think it said he was doing a 30-second sketch, but he was asking what he should draw. 30-minute sketch, not 30-second.
I thought he did that with Mandalorian.
No, that was like a video he premiered. Timothy says SJWs complained it was racist despite the writing staff was of Indian background. Yeah, but SJWs will complain anything's racist, even if it came from the people they're complaining for. You just pay them no mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, too many people do. Like, executives and all that. Because I remember hearing they didn't, the big wigs and all that, the powers that be, didn't think the Dukes of Hazzard was going to go over, but it really went over, and of course, it got 7 seasons. Unfortunately, most of those bigwigs don't know their audience. And listen to people that think know their audience, which usually doesn't.
Oh, that's going to take half an hour to download. This demo is 3 gigs. I'm wondering, how much information is there? There better be a lot to play.
Yeah. Yeah, so Blade and Soul this week for Friday.
I think Marsupial had a game for you.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. It had the word fur in it. But it was free to play, and it's 24 years old, MMO. Yeah, we were talking about it on the Vomitorium earlier.
Now, the one that I'd like to play with a bunch of people on here is City of Heroes.
Yeah, I have another group of friends that are trying to get me to play that game again, and I'm just I really don't want to start over, invest all that time again. Because I didn't do everything, but I think I stopped playing right around the time that Villains came out, so I've done half the total content.
Yeah, well, and then there's, I'm not sure whether they incorporated it, but then there's Rogues too, City Rogues. Where you can change your villain over to hero or your hero over to a villain.
Yeah, but it wasn't a lot of additional content, because even with Villains, the bulk of the game was still heroes, so it was it was heroes, and then everything after that was half the total content.
Yeah. Villains was pretty good. I've created a few villains too.
But it's just
even
if somehow they had all that account data, I definitely would not have my account, because I don't even remember what email I was using back then.
No, I don't think they have all that account data. But I created my character fairly easily. And, although I haven't played it in a while, I am up to level 30 on my one character. Which is Canadian Shield.
Yeah.
And then I think you could get, especially if we're doing stuff together, you could probably level pretty fast.
I've done it all before.
It's different every time.
That's usually my thing. Is like I usually don't mind starting a game fresh from nothing. But man, it's like even a game that I want to play, like Octopath Traveler, I have not played that game again in a while because I had to start over. And streaming it is probably like the only motivation I have to actually go in because it's like I spent 120 hours on this game.
Yeah, heck, what's the name of it? I actually got a subscription, I think, for a year for it, or something like that. Fairly length of time. I was like, crap. Could never afford another subscription, and so
Yo, back when those games were new, your subscriptions used to be cheap.
Yeah.
It was the monthly where they got you.
Yeah, I did it a monthly a couple times, but like I said, I got it for a year. I think a year one time, 6 months or a year. I played it quite a bit during that year, and then afterwards, it's like, Well, I did, in that year, I did get my one character up to 50. I got one character, quite a few characters up, but only one all the way to 50. Okay, now I'm gonna go over this and make sure I got everything. A little bit better. I'm gonna have to go over it again with all the colors. Yeah, I think it and WoW were started right around the same time. Then I've got the Champions one.
Oh, Champions.
I didn't think it was.
I have such PTSD about that game.
Okay, sounds like there's a bit of a story there. Although I didn't really like it, and I didn't find it as good as City of Heroes.
It's definitely not as good as City. I used to play it together. He played it a lot longer than I did. After a certain while, I lost all interest in the game. So he started like making friends in like a guild or whatever in the game. Really interesting game at that time. It's actually better than most games at that time, but it's just like, oof. It got so boring and so monotonous fast.
What's that?
Champions.
Oh yeah.
And also the problem was its playstyle was basically ripped from another game because the company that made it made quite a few different games in the same engine, and they all played kind of the same. The only difference was that one had character flight mechanics and stuff like that. But it was basically the same game as playing the Star Trek Online and the Dungeons and Dragons Online. Like, coat of paint slapped on it.
Eagle says she's back.
And they all had the same title logo, too. Right? It was like this weird banner that all looked the same. It had online in the same place, and the only thing that was different was like Champions or Star Trek or Dungeons and Dragons. It was like this was the corporate chill out form of MMO.
Well, I think Star Trek Online is still going too.
It might. The only cool part about that was at least it had space battles, but a lot of the space battle mechanics weren't that different than the character flight mechanics in Champions. At least it had the ability to spec out your ship. That was the cool part.
Yeah.
But then later in the game, you find out all the cool stuff for your ship is premium. And you're like, dang it.
Yeah, in other words, buy a membership. Well, that's the way with most of these MMOs, especially that go free.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was too. After the year, it wasn't free, so I eventually City of Heroes became free, and then I started playing it again a little bit. But Dillard is drawing some type of Mandalorian. Okay. I suggested
The title of the
Cyberpunk.
stream is literally 30-minute sketch. What should I draw? He did a Mandalorian earlier. Why did somebody ask him to draw another Mandalorian? Oh, Cyberpunk Robo Rick would have been great. But Dillard does hate Cyberpunk, so.
I don't think he does want to do the Robo Rick, so I might end up creating the look anyways. Oh, then again, he doesn't really want the character. I don't think so. And it was it created by him or by the chat?
The chat.
So does the chat want me to come up with a version of Robo Rick? Or maybe we should do a contest.
Another contest.
Everybody creates their version of Robo Rick. We vote on it, and whoever wins gets something. I don't know what. It's Edward the Avocado's Mandalorian-like character. Says Eagle. I really know nothing about it. Yeah, this week.
Why does an avocado have a character? Avocados aren't sentient. Dang it, Rick, this is somehow your fault.
What?
That there's a sentient avocado running around making characters.
Okay. You say so. Okay, how is this looking at? Go back to the gray. I don't like the Mandalorian. I really. Why don't you like the Mandalorian?
I don't like the Mandalorian either. But I think we've been over why I don't like the Mandalorian a few times.
Yeah.
I think part of it too is a lot of the people, their initial pull into it. You know, I can admit that it is a well-crafted show, but their initial pull into it is the liking
Baby.
of Boba Fett.
Yeah. And Baby Yoda.
Well, yeah, if you didn't watch the show at first and then you saw the Baby Yoda stuff, I'm sure that did blow it up afterwards. But I'm talking about like the premiere pull before
Yeah.
people even knew about what's his name, Grogu now. Um, the initial pull was Boba Fett, and it's like it's not Boba Fett, but it's a character like Boba Fett. But I never thought Boba Fett was cool growing up. I didn't particularly like the character. I didn't particularly dislike him. He was just kind of like a thing that existed in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and he's dead now. Whatever.
He never really got a lot of showtime, so it's like, how badass is he? You know?
His dad, that he was cloned from later on, Django, a little bit cooler. Had a little bit more to do. Still wasn't a particularly cool character, but definitely cooler than Boba.
You know, like, let's see, you see him in Empire Strikes Back. He's just talking to Vader.
Yeah, it's just kind of like there.
He grabs Solo, you know, and takes him to Jabba, and then, you know, he's in Jedi, where, you know, in Jabba's palace. My only question is, this guy is a bounty hunter. What the freak? You know, he's delivered Solo. Why the heck is he sticking around? You know, shouldn't you be going out trying to get your next bounty?
Yeah, because it's almost like he transitioned into being an armed guard or something like that.
Yeah.
Bravely Default final demo. Well, I'm gonna leave you on sleep mode until I'm ready to play. Yeah, I don't know. He's a pretty lame character, honestly, because he doesn't even do much. Like, even after delivering and holding a gun to people, he kind of just gets knocked into the Sarlacc's pit. Like, he's kind of a lame character. I think most of the people that end up liking him, it was because of his cartoon appearance.
Yeah.
And even then, his cartoon wasn't that cool.
Yeah, I don't remember
the one that showed up in the holiday special, and then they realized that people didn't like the holiday special, so they started showing it on its own. What did Eagle link? Let me look at this. Star Wars Republic Commando trailer. Oh, okay, I remember what this is now. I thought this was a new thing. Like, no, this is standard definition. And then I looked, it's the game from 2004. The game that kind of played like a mix between Halo and Metroid Prime.
Yeah, Link's another thing. Yeah, so, he has a cool look on that, Boba Fett, or, especially back in the day. It was
Okay,
cool.
look.
As a kid, it was probably thought of it as a lot cooler or whatever, but, it's like, like I pointed out, he didn't do much. Or you pointed out, it's like, you're a bounty hunter, why aren't you off getting more bounties? Why are you in Jabba's palace?
Well, it could be worse. You could be a bounty hunter that spends most of your time competing in, like, professional racing.
Okay, yeah. You're probably
It's
thinking,
Captain Falcon from the F-Zero series.
oh,
Well, I would say most of your time. Actually, at this point, most of his time is spent in Smash Brothers because Nintendo's forgotten that he even has a game. You know who's actually good at their job? Samus Aran. Samus is a bounty hunter, but she primarily only takes contracts from the Federation. So that's why she always ends up in all of the messes that she's in. But literally every single game where you play as Samus, unless it's a crossover game like Smash Brothers, she is out doing her job.
well, that's good.
No, I guess to be fair, if we do extend it to the game worlds, there was the Star Wars Bounty Hunter game where Boba Fett did actually do bounty hunting.
Yeah. Although, Boba Fett, as a kid, was in, what was it, Rebels? Or
Maybe, I don't know. I don't watch Rebels.
or Clone Wars?
Clone Wars would be appropriate. That would have been around the time that he was a kid.
Yeah.
Since in Attack of the Clones, that's when you first see the character. I didn't like Clone Wars, though. I didn't think that was a good show.
Yeah, I liked it. And then because Disney took over, I think they canceled it.
I'm trying to think. What's his name? Agendi, I think? The original cartoon one wasn't so bad. I didn't care for it. But it really didn't do much to the lore. It was the 3D one. What's her face comes into it that I hate so much?
Asuka?
Ahsoka, yeah. Ahsoka Tano. Hate that character. Her existence completely undermines Anakin Skywalker's entire arc. Like a big middle finger to the prequels.
Yeah. A Padawan. Teaching a Padawan. How is this? Well, I guess he's a little bit more than a Padawan at that point, but...
Yeah. Well, he was a Jedi Knight. He just wasn't a master. Can't believe John is streaming while you are, Mallet says.
I sort of can. I can't.
Yeah, Mallet seems to be doing pretty good, though. I saw that picture he put up earlier. Was that cribbage board he's been working on for quite some time. It came out really well, and he replied that he actually is selling and shipping a lot out.
Well, that's good. Where are you putting your stuff up on to get, like a customer base? All the woodworking stuff has to dry.
I would assume he has like either his own site or an Etsy store. Oh, yeah, Etsy.
I might have to think about getting an Etsy store.
And local farm stores. That's really good. Anytime you can do something local is great because that's where the impulse buys come from. People walk around to stores and they see it. And if it's popular enough, then the store will probably want to order more from you. Oh, you just want to say hi. He's off to bed. Okay. You have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night. God bless. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Although I guess you'd have no choice in that if they were there.
I don't know. Can you like wear off to bed? Does that help against bed bugs? I don't know how powerful off body spray is for bugs.
I don't know. I did not know either.
I guess if you're the Human Torch, you would never have that problem. You just go to sleep on fire.
Yeah, but you'd then have to have a bed that would be, catch on fire.
Well, that's fine. It's made out of steel or titanium.
That might be a bit uncomfortable, though, then.
Well, that's why old hospital beds were made out of, like, steel lining and stuff like that, right?
No.
Yeah, because, like, we've got better things for treating bed bugs now, even though it's still hard. You don't want an infestation. But the easy way to deal with it back in the day would be to just burn the mattress, so they're gone, and to burn the inside of the rods for those, what's it called, those beds, and the fire would kill the bugs, so then you just go get a new mattress and put it on the metal frame once it's cooled down. And hospitals, it's not like you can't just throw your bed out. They need to get this problem solved fast, like I said, they've got better ways of dealing with it now. You don't have to do that. The crazy part is you don't always know where the bed bugs are. Because in a single night, they can travel up to 30 meters just to feed.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm going to get any shading done on this tonight.
Probably not.
So focused on these small areas, done trying to make it look good.
You'd find that funny.
What?
I was just scrolling through my timeline, and one of my friends posted this meme. And it's like when someone criticizes something in any other game, and it's just like this girl's helping this old lady with her walker, and the old lady's like, "City of Heroes does this much better." And the girl's just like, "Sure, Grandma. Now let's get you to bed." Can I get all this stuff done? It's a pretty slow part right here. Man, I just remembered it's Wednesday.
Well,
And while I'm mostly prepared, that means I only have 2 days left to get everything ready for you guys for the RPG. I think at this point it's mostly tokens.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, we're obviously going to finish off the dungeon.
Yeah.
I think then we're going to go back to town.
I would hope so.
See the king.
I mean, if you wanted, you could just start wandering off in some other direction. I mean, that wouldn't be against it, but I think at that point you'd probably be blamed for kidnapping the king's heir.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll go. Unless, well, we could let him walk back to town by himself.
Oh, yes. You have no idea how old this person is. You don't know if this is an adult who just hasn't been coronated yet or a small child. You're going to take the risk and let that person walk back 30 miles to town after, or at least.
Well, once we find them, we'll know whether they're an adult or not. I'm just saying it's a possibility if they're a full-grown adult.
Wait, let me make sure I'm coming through. Okay, yeah. I was at least escort the kid or whatever out of the swamp.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd follow us out of the swamp.
But then, like, come on, you don't even know how strong this person is, right? You're gonna send them 30 miles across that plain? You've seen what's on that plain. There's giant birds bigger than you.
Yeah, true. But then again, we do want our rewards for, saving him. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll go back to town. If possible, I don't know how much experience the boss will give us and all that. It's possible some of us might actually level again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Dillard's about to level anyway. He's like, I don't know, 40 points from leveling or something like that.
Yeah, but he's behind us in leveling too, so I believe. Like, let's see. I'm not sure where I am leveling. Well, I'm over 1,000 at the moment, but 1,078, 78. So with the fights that we still have, I could possibly level before we get back to town. I think, but depending on how much, like I said, the big boss gives you for experience.
What level are you?
I am right now. I'm 3, but I'm 1,078 away from level 4.
Yeah, Dillard's about to catch up to 3.
See, because he didn't take place in a couple of the bigger battles that we had. He didn't get the.
Yeah, I just forgot he was leveled up when you were like inside the dungeon before they caught back up. Because before that, he wasn't hitting you.
Yeah.
I have to go and rewatch it. I haven't awarded you guys any extra experience if anybody deserves it yet, because I haven't bothered to go back through and rewatch it. I need to do that like tonight or something.
Could be wrong. I don't think we deserve too much of that because
I don't know if anybody deserves any of it, but I still need to rewatch it and check.
yeah, because we left the winter thing, you know. I don't think none of us did anything spectacular. Or, well, then again, you know, usually when I pay for the thing, you award me a couple extra, so it doesn't necessarily have to be anything spectacular, I guess.
Yeah. Oh wow. It's only been up for like half an hour. And episode 47 of the Vomitorium already has 3 likes for 3 views on SoundCloud.
Cool.
That's pretty good because you don't even get the favorites, the hearts, because most of the views come from people playing it on iTunes or Spotify.
Oh crap, I didn't switch to the black layer when I did that stuff. Oh. Well, it is 12 o'clock, folks. There we
It is.
Or at least it is here, where I am. So there's what we've done so far. I'm gonna finish a whole bunch of stuff off stream. So thanks everybody. Thanks to Metal for coming on, and thanks everybody in the chat for coming out. I guess we will see you hopefully tomorrow for high noon. When I'm not sure what will be. Oh, it's supposed to be a Bible story tomorrow. So I'm not sure which one offhand yet. So we'll catch you all later. Oh, did you want to promote anything, Metal?
Yeah. In case you didn't catch it, you should go back over to, honestly, any place that the Vomitorium podcast is on. YouTube, Twitch. DLive doesn't hold archives, so it's not going to be there. Or any of the, what's it called, podcasting platforms, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, so on and so forth. And listen to the most recent episode of the Vomitorium. We do it twice a week, and we have a lot of fun doing it, so enjoy. It's 3 hours. It's something you can put on in the background while you work or drive to and from work or whatever. It's like a radio show.
Cool. And yeah, everybody, make sure you go sign up for the pre-launch for Cross Comics Coloring Book, which will be launching January 7th. So we'll catch you all later. Bye for now. God bless. Love you all.